Jay here, welcome to Models Memories Weekly, episode 180. Models Memories is a show about nothing and is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where we're talking about painting, modeling, and wearing experiences from the week. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 videos a week. How? Could I possibly have more to say? Well, I do, and here goes. This week, Games Workshop showed off all of the stuff that they were going to show off at Nova, which is some new models for Age of Sigmar and the road maps for what's coming next for basically all of Warhammer. But first, you ever heard of EonsOfBattle.com? It's our website. Over there, you can find our merch, like the new Eons of Battle dice. I've been rolling with these suckers a lot lately in games, and they've been rolling it pretty good. At least the J dice have. I can't say the same for the Nick dice. And on our website, we have memberships. Every single month, our members will get 1 credit that they can use on our brand new terrain set or any previous set we have ever made. This month, our new terrain is the Clone Expansion, a part 2 to our spaceship interior with new wall sections for building out the grizzled facilities of a cloning laboratory, complete with examination tables / autopsy tables, cloning bays, and new doors. And the cloning doesn't stop there. The clone towers are macabre monoliths drooping with pods full of fresh recruits or test subjects, depending on the needs of the mad scientists who operate them. The Nova Open reveals are fresh in my mind. I stayed up a little late last night checking out the road maps, but I actually haven't taken a peek at the miniatures yet. And so I'm gonna get to see them for the first time. Let's start off with the best, most popular reveal, Blood Bowl. I've heard nothing but good things about Blood Bowl, but the new team is Chaos Dwarfs, a blast from the past from classic Warhammer Fantasy battles. There's no real even whispering on the horizon that Chaos Dwarves are gonna come back to the old world, although there is the one canon for old world that was shown off in the, I wanna say Slaves to Darkness, but they're not called Slaves to Darkness back in the olden times. They were just called like Chaos Marauders? I think they were called Chaos Marauders. But this is a really fun Blood Bowl team. I like these models look very retro. Even the goblins, they're kind of a different, they've got weird proportions and different faces than anything else we've seen for Age of Sigmar. But the dwarves with their giant hats and their beautiful beards that have like these weird bullet shaped like adornments on them. They're a lot of fun. I play too many games, but I would love to give Blood Bowl a try. Maybe I can find somebody who's got like a loner team and we can play together. This team, it's pretty darn good, but it doesn't blow my hair back. The team that I really want is they showed it off. Did they show it off? They showed it off the last time Games Workshop did a big show off event. Maybe it was the time before that. It was like the little gnomey guys. The little Quaker Oats gnome guy. And there was like a fox running away with one of the balls. I think there was a goose. There was a tree, but like a really friendly, happy tree. That was a really, really fun team. But this one is really good too. I would assume that for Chaos Dwarves, this is all we're gonna get, at least for the time being. I feel like Games Workshop right now is in a weird transitionary period where they're trying to shore up a lot of their different games, cut off the fat, cut off the stuff that isn't really working or is just like a weird ancillary product. And then once they've done that over the course of like the next couple of years, then we'll start to get the weird nitty gritty releases that are like the sub-faction of a sub-faction of a sub-faction. I'm looking forward to it. But speaking of looking forward to it, the Stormcast Eternals. I've already built the Skaven half of Skaven Tide, and I've played it a bunch in Spearhead. The Stormcast are still sitting in the box. That's actually right there. It's right there on the floor, the Stormcast half. But this is the full plastic release range for Stormcast and Age of Sigmar 4.0, and we got Iridian the Witness. Guy on a big old crow. Okay, so if you look at the Age of Sigmar book, there's artwork of the Stormcast Eternals riding these like hippogriff things, and it just looks like a guy on a gigantic raven. It's just a guy on a raven, and it's so cool. I would buy guy on raven. I guess it's maybe a little bit more whimsical than like the coolness of the hippogriff things, but I like just one big bird. Guy on a hippogriff thing, he looks pretty cool. The wings are down, and he's like a lion, hippogriff, bird thing. I feel like they don't need to put armor on the creatures unless they really want to go for it. Like, I kind of like the old world, the heraldry and that like big heavy canvas leather armor they put on the horses that like cover them from head to toe, and then you can do like really nice freehanding on it, I think that would be an interesting way to go about it. But if it's just an animal, like it looks like he doesn't really even have a saddle. I guess he has a little bit of a saddle. I just like, is that one foot of his wing with the armor on it really protecting this guy from arrows and trebuchets and chaos sorcery? I feel like they just add those elements on because they couldn't think of anything else to do. It is a really cool model. I feel bad being a little bit on Stormcast, because these are the coolest Stormcast that there have ever been. When Stormcast came out, they were chonky boys, clearly Space Marines for fantasy, and they were just kind of and they've slowly progressed and gotten better and better and better and better and better over the years. But I still feel like they're not as cool as Lizardmen, or Chaos Monstrosities, or Ogres, or Vampires. Like, I still feel like all of those other things are a little bit cooler than Space Marines in Age of Sigmar. Oh, and then there's an alternate sculpt, Lord Vigilant on Morgriff. He's got a big old spear. He's got the different head for the bird. Like, it is a really cool model. I don't feel like it's quite at the level of some of the other big figs that we've seen, like the Flesh Eater Court, the giant just monster ghoul guy, or the new Rat King thing, like these gigantic, like godly statues. This guy, he's a little bit below that. He feels like Teclis. Like, Teclis is a pretty darn cool model, but it's not at the level of some of the new cool stuff we've seen lately. Speaking of new cool stuff, we got the Lord Celestant. Just a guy or gal with doing the hero pose with a big ol' hammer and a big ol' sword. One of the head options kind of looks like Cher. It's fine. I don't know. It's pretty cool. I think they lost a lot of the like the big gigantic armor, but I think they maybe have skinnied him up a little bit too much. It might also just be the pose. It's a weird pose where like they're like open in the power pose, but then their legs are offset, which makes it feel a little bit unbalanced. I kind of like fist bump guy. Fist bump pose I like. I would go with fist bump pose. Ooh, and I also do like the white on silver. That looks really, really good. Now this guy, the Lord Relictor. This guy I saw this morning because all of my Facebook groups that are about Black Templar were like, hell yeah, new chaplain model from Games Workshop. Oh, this guy looks absolutely sick. I love his hammer. Oh, I love that thing he's got, the reliquary with a skeleton in it, with the timepiece, the hourglass. There's little candles melted into his top little spiky sun thing. His face looks amazing. His chest is like ornate and or like just, it's got this ornamentation with the bones in it. It looks so good. And this guy, he looks so good. He's almost got a Space Marine power plant on his back. I don't know what, oh, I think that is actually holding his bones because he's a reforged person. And so I think those are the bones of him, which is a really, really cool little detail. But this guy is so cool. And then look at Chaplain and Terminator armor. It looks like a kit bash. It looks like a very mild kit bash of a regular Terminator into Terminator Chaplain. That model came out this year. And then this guy comes out this year and he looks so wickedly cool. I can totally see why all the 40K Facebook groups are like, oh, this guy's getting stolen and kit bashed. And you wouldn't even need to kit bash him that much. Oh, this guy would make such a cool, it's not a chaplain, but it's a Judiciar. The Judiciar gives you fights first and it's really good to take, especially in Black Templar. Ah, this guy, I might have to pick up this guy. And I love that stick. That stick would look real good glued to the side of a Land Raider. It'd be really, really cool. Next up, we got Lord Terminos, who looks like a Terminator. He looks really cool. His pose is great. He's doing a little point. He's got big, chonky armor. He's got a spooky little friend carrying an hourglass. This guy is really cool. Why is he so much cooler? What is the difference? The Lord Celestant has got like a skinny little waist and skinny little legs. This guy has got a big ol' waist with big chains. I don't know what armor you wear on your thighs is called, but he's got big ones of those. He's got purity seals. He's got a skirt. He's got chainmail under the skirt. It all works really, really well. Yeah, this guy, I think he just filled out. I think this guy is the same as that other model. He's just filled out a little more and it looks really good on him. Then we got the Reclusians. guys are neat. These guys, I actually have most of these models because I think a monopose version of them came in Skaventide. These guys are neat. And you know what? I like these guys a lot. They have a really nice poses to them. Sometimes it's hard with an axe because if you one-hand an axe in real life, it has to be like a hatchet, like a really small one. But that's not cool for miniatures, so they make them really, really big. These guys have really, really big axes that actually look good on them. I think because they have shields that aren't hilariously big. It looks like the weight of the shield is helping to balance out the weight of that axe. And I also really like their little spooky fellas. I really wish that servitors were good in game, because I would like to have servitors just wandering amongst my Black Templar just because it's cool. I really like these guys. I almost wish this was the normal rank and file Stormcast, because the normal rank and file Stormcast are pretty bland. They're like dudes in slightly fancier than regular armor. Ooh, and they can carry maces. I like the maces too. Not as much as the shields and axes, but I do like the maces too. They look really fancy. And it looks like Games Workshop actually did a good job of giving them like some paintability. It looks like they have blades on them. And then on the inside, there's a little bit of room to like splash some verdigris or some wash to make it look like it's glowing. Every time they've tried to make a power maul for 40K, it just either looks like a baseball bat. No, it just always looks like a baseball bat. And then sometimes they put like some weird gobbledygook machinery in the middle of it on the punching parts. So you've got this delicate looking technology in the middle of a weapon, where these guys, those maces just look magical and powerful. Speaking of magical and powerful, we got the Stormstrike Paladors. I feel like the Stormcast already have a ton of guys on horse-like things, but these are some more guys on horse-like things. Why can't they just be like, I feel like they were like, we should have cavalry, but we have to be a little bit cleverer than cavalry. So let's have them be hippogriffs, which are horse birds instead of just birds. Why not have them on giant like sparrows or something weird? Let's get really weird with it. That might be, maybe only I would like that. These guys look pretty good. I do like that they have clothing on the horses that looks like it very reasonably would help protect them from like arrows and stuff. They look very good. A bunch of these guys charging forward would be scary. Ooh, I also like the helmets for the birds. They have a really interesting look. It's like a little bit xenomorph. Like it takes the shape of their head and elongates it. It's a really interesting look. But speaking of looking really interesting, the Storm Reach Portal, a new terrain piece. Kind of looks like an outhouse. It's fine. It really doesn't look like they tried that. I mean, like somebody sculpted this and they did a pretty good job. I'm sure they followed the concept art to the letter. I think it's a poor concept though. Like I kind of feel like I could maybe make this in Tinkercad. Maybe not the ball on top. Maybe I can make the ball on top. But it doesn't feel like it has any story or purpose. It's a portal built into an Art Nouveau thing. It doesn't look like it's a gate. I guess it is a portal. I'm sure it has something to do with the new Stormcast range. Like the new Stormcast are different from the old Stormcast. I don't know, the new terrain piece is not doing it for me. I kind of hope that it is one of those required terrain pieces. Like as a Sylvaneth player, I'm gonna have to buy a bunch of those trees and I'm not happy about it. So I hope the Stormcast players have to buy a bunch of these things just so that we can all share in having to lug around these terrain pieces to our friendly local game stores. Those were the big miniature reveals from Nova, but they also showed off a roadmap for what's coming next for Warhammer. And this is really interesting because I almost feel like it's a bad idea. Games Workshop doesn't tend to like to tell us what's gonna happen. And it's also a little bit fun for there to be a bit of a mystery. They never really show enough information that you can really plan, but the roadmaps they showed off this time, 3 of them were hilariously kind of unhelpful and obtuse. Number 1, graphic design. I don't get this shape to the graphs. It took me a while to be able to read them properly. And they also don't have all of the information. Like Roadmap Age of Sigmar 2024 so far, new edition. Dawnbringer Saga, they also came out with stuff, but they don't say it here. Still to come, battle tones for Skaven, Stormcast Eternal, and Slaves to Darkness. I'm pretty sure Stormcast and Skaven players already knew that their codex was coming first because they were in the launch box, but that is fun to know that Slaves to Darkness is coming after that. And then you follow this graph down and it says, and beyond. But you don't have to worry because you can just look to the rest of the document and see what's beyond. More army boxes and spearheads. Death, more to be announced soon. Sure, I guess more to be announced soon in 2025? Or does that mean more to be announced soon before that? Because we've got a lot of time before 2025. But Spearhead Destruction, the Orruk War Clans and the Gloomspite Gits. I am really into Spearhead right now, and so I might pick up an Orruk War Clan Spearhead just to have the variety, and they look like they'd be fun to paint. And the Gloomspite Gits are Nick's baby, so he is super excited for that. Moving on to the Old World. The Old World one has also got this weird U shape, but it shows off, what they've come out with so far. Still to come. This is what is weird about doing this now in Nova, because still to come, the Dwarven Mountain Holds and the Warriors of Chaos. We already knew that. They already showed us everything for those two releases. So it's weird to get like a big production like, guys, you're not gonna believe this. We're gonna come out with the things we said we're gonna come out with. I guess now we have confirmation that we can expect both of those in this year. I guess we know that for surezies, although I think we already knew, like, the Dwarves, did the Dwarves come out, or are the Dwarves like hot on the presses about to come out? I don't remember. But they've just shown off Warriors of Chaos and like what the boxes are gonna have and what miniatures are coming back. So we know that we can continue to expect those two. And then in 2025, Empire Man, High Elves, more factions, army boxes, heroes, plastic, metal, and resin. So it's kind of a restatement of, yes, we are going to do the things that we said we're gonna do, and for Empire of Man players and High Elf players, get excited because next year, those things are coming out. Along with more factions, mystery, we'll see what happens. I think this one is a little bit better than the Age of Sigmar one. But weirdly enough, when I was looking at these, obviously I went to 40K first, then I went to Age of Sigmar, then I went to Old World, and then I looked at those three again. And then I'm like, let me just check out 30K. I'm not a 30K player. I think 30K is cool, but it wasn't super interesting to me. I think the 30K one is great. Warhammer, the Horus Heresy Road Map 2024 shows off the things that they've come out with. Still to come, the mechanisms continue to deploy across the battlefield of the Horus Heresy. So that just happened, that just came out. And then other factions lurk, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. A little tease that there will be another faction or factions in 2024. That's pretty exciting. That's a little mysterious. My ears are perking up a little bit. And then in 2025, something new every month. That's really exciting. And it's also probably true for this year as well, but it's just a cool thing that they can say, and it's true and it's exciting. And then they just have the word tanks. I don't know what that means, but that's cool. I like tanks. That's great. And then more to come for also Legion Imperialis. I think that's a great roadmap. They didn't show off too much, but they also didn't squash anyone's hopes and dreams. They kept things a little bit mysterious, but they making sure that you know that some interesting things are coming in the future. I think this one is great and the perfect juxtaposition to look at the 40K one. Warhammer 40,000, ooh, like the big flagship of all of Games Workshop, which is now just called Warhammer. What is coming next for Warhammer 40,000? Well, hold on to your butts, it's Blood Angels. But we already knew that and have pre-ordered it. Like literally we pre-ordered it last weekend, like it's done. Blood Angels are Dunyan Rings. Still to come, Blood Angels end the year. That's weird. Why not flip-flop? Why hold this for the Nova reveal? Why not have this come out when the Blood Angels came out and then push Blood Angels to the Nova reveal? And then everybody gets pumped to see all the cool new stuff for Blood Angels. It's just like a weird, like everybody, us 40K players were on the edge of our seat. We're getting a roadmap for what's coming next. We haven't had one of those since the launch of the edition. What's coming next for 40K? Nothing, it's done. It's already done. It was Blood Angels, you already saw it. I just don't understand the format. I also just don't understand the formatting of these graphs. Why does it say like lots of great factions, Adeptus Sororitas, Adeptus Custodes, and then the text fades out like you're not supposed to read it, and then they don't have all the factions that came out this year listed. Why would you do it that way? That doesn't make any logical sense. But speaking of logical sense, they do show us in 2025 I guess the first 3 codexes are going to be Astra Militarum, Eldari, and Imperial Knights. That is super cool. I don't play any of those factions, so I've got some time to wait, but I'm perfectly happy with that because I play Black Templar and Orcs and Tyrannid, and I'm getting into Death Guard, and I would like to start a Sisters of Battle army, and I have a bunch of Grey Knights. It's a problem, but none of those things, actually Sisters of Battle already happened, but none of those things are in the pipeline, and so I have some time to wait. I was a little bit worried that like they would announce Black Templar are happening, and I would be super excited because I'm really excited for more Black Templar. But I just got my tournament list finished and I've been practicing with it, and it would really stink if the rules got updated and changed around and all of a sudden I have to rewrite that list and then play more practice games to get some reps in to figure out the new rules. So I guess only for me, it's fine that there's nothing left coming for 2024, but that's just weird. Like if you have nothing planned for the rest of the year, maybe don't tell us. It just seems dumb. I don't understand. 40K, we're closing up shop, we're shuttering the windows, we're turning the lights off. We'll, you know, come check back up on us in 2025. And we'll give you some Krieg. The Krieg is cool. Apparently, the Krieg are coming. They're gonna do some more Krieg-y stuff. I like the Krieg. I think Astra Militarum is gonna go. I think all of the factions eventually, but Astra Militarum probably first are gonna go the Space Marine route of there will be Imperial Guard, which is Cadians and tanks and stuff, and then there will be like sub-factions. You can play Krieg, which is technically Imperial Guard, but not really because you take different units. You take the Krieg units, and then eventually there'll be like the Vostroyans and the Talarn and all of those different things. So yeah, weird. Why make a big deal of not coming out with product for the rest of the year for this game? Just don't. I would have preferred not to know. It is bizarre. I don't know. What do you guys think of the roadmaps? Was it a net positive? Was it a net negative? Is it just confusing? Did you guys have as much trouble reading the actual diagrams as I did? Because it took me a second to figure out where it was trying to take my eyes in this funny U shape. And then they don't contain all of the information that they could. And each one is different for some reason. That doesn't make any sense to me. I hope the graphic designer got paid a lot of money, and I hope that they followed their directions to the letter, because I'm sure the problems are somewhere higher up in the chain of command at Games Workshop. I'm sorry, at Warhammer, but I don't know. Nothing has got me too excited. Honestly, 30K is the most exciting thing to keep my eyes open for, because there's going to be a new faction and tanks. I want to see a new faction and tanks. That sounds really cool. Astra Militarum, I'm sure Sean's gonna be excited. I'm not super excited. They're probably gonna come out with something even better than a Rogel Dorn battle tank, and I'll just continue to get absolutely stomped by Imperial Guard. Thanks for watching.